Welcome to another episode of the Transforming Lives panel podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sharmin, and Mitzy is here with me, and we have a guest. But before we continue, just join me in taking a few deep breaths so that we can become centered and grounded. And if it's comfortable or safe, you can close your eyes and take a deep inhale through your nose and hold that breath at the top and then let it out. Let go of all the tension of the day. Take another deep breath in, and as you pay attention to your inhale and your exhale, let go of the emotional stressors, the threats, everything that happened during the day that did not serve you. Just take another deep breath in, hold it at the top, feel it in your body, and let it go. And take another deep breath in and relax as you exhale. And join us once again in the room and welcome. And I will ask Mitzi to introduce our guest, Andrea.
Right. I'd like to introduce you to Andrea Levine, who's played an instrumental role in the senior sector for the last 27 plus years. Andrea has worked in areas such as home care, retirement, long-term care, healthcare recruiting, and publication. During her years in the community, Andrea noticed there was a great demand for companion services. And what a better time to fill this gap than by offering senior companion services in the areas of North York, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, Thornhill, and parts of Toronto. I've known Andrea for many years, and she is a little energizer bunny, and she leads with her heart. And I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to Andrea, and she can let you know a little bit more about her services and the types of services she does in her community, but also how you can find it in whatever community you may be in. Great. Andrea, if you could tell us a little bit more about what it is you do for clients and kind of guide us if somebody doesn't live within your service area, how they would go about finding someone like yourself.
Well, thank you so much for being on here. I think this is a wonderful venue for a podcast, Sharmin. So, thank you for introducing me to Miss Sharmin there. And, you know, I lived in South and North Carolina for 27 years. And when I returned to the GTA, we knew how to take a siesta in the Carolinas, but that was totally transformed when I moved back to Toronto. I'm originally from Toronto. I've been in the healthcare sector, as Mitzi has mentioned, for many moons, and excuse me, various areas. So upon coming up to retirement, because really there is no retirement, and working for various organizations, and for one reason or another, Andrea, we can't afford you. We're letting you go. I said, enough. I'm opening up my own. So I started Senior Companion Services. I'm doing it in twofold. One is for retirement homes and long-term care, where I directly am in contact with the either general manager or the sales and marketing person. You may know someone in retirement homes in the chef area. Whoever reach out and say, who can I speak to in regards to seniors when they move into your home, which is usually the sales and marketing. A lot of times, what I do is when a new person moves into a retirement home, I become their liaison. So I go to with them to activities, to dinner, to special events and outings out in the community, travel on their bus with them. so that they can get integrated in a fun and casual way, and then introduce them to other residents, and they all feel very good about where their new home is. Yeah. And the long term care is something near and dear to my heart. I worked 6.5 years in long term care. And to be a companion and a voice for folks that are in long term care, most have start off with dementia, and that is in retirement as well, but more prevalent in long term care. And they need a voice. I just started the business, and it takes a while to get present. However, people do know me in the industry, but I handed out rack cards within my community. um, yeah, working in the community. So as of late, I've taken seniors who live in. I live in basically a senior community. A lot of seniors have to go to the hospital. They have to get a CT scan, a colonoscopy, and an X-ray. I can take them there. They also have to, maybe they need to accompaniment to the dental appointment. I also take their pets to the vet or to be groomed, small pets or calm dogs to be groomed if they need to. My minimum hours are 2 hours. I'm very, very reasonable because I'm just growing my business that I don't want to overcharge. And I do all the services myself. So when people call me up, they get me. And I'm starting off with a 6-day run. A gentleman has to go to dialysis, and he's there for 2.5 hours and living at a retirement home. So it's picking him up and bringing him home, making sure he has dinner, things like that. It's a lot of common sense, is what it is.
I
Any
love
questions?
I love it. I think it's so brilliant. Um,
Right.
what motivated you? What was that drive that led you to start this business?
Well, the drive was that I needed to do something on my own. And since being in the senior sector was all I knew, I wanted to provide a service that they can logistically afford, and it won't, but the family members can have peace of mind as well. And that's a real important component. I mean, I even I have a gig where I'm going to feed cats for the weekend. And I'm not even a cat person, but I'm going to feed them and, make sure they have water. I'll talk to them and, yeah, do
I
things of
think
this nature. But a lot of home care companies provide this service. I know your podcast goes worldwide, so you can always, contact your home care company, your downsizing companies. There's so many different ways. The big key, and Mitzi is a pro at this, is networking. And the more you network, the more people that know, then they say, "Oh yeah, I know someone that does that. Let me connect you with them."
I'm so excited because I've never heard of it,
Really?
despite I know of here home care here in New York City and know of many we call them home health aides,
Right,
but
right. But
I've
see, I don't do care. I do companion, which is really, really different, which really includes like personal shopping, whether that's Costco, whether that's the grocery store, or, if they want help in their backyard. Do I have a green thumb? I'm not telling them I don't have a green thumb, but they enjoy being in the backyard, so I'll enjoy it with them, right? Yeah. And just taking an Uber down to the lakeshore and having a walk on the boardwalk. There's just such a need for services like mine, and I'm sure there are services in New York like this. No.
Never heard of it. All I know of is home care. So for me, hearing this, it's like an anomaly. Oh my God, this is
Thank
so
you so much.
beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you so much. The whole thing is about giving back. I was in sales and marketing with seniors in the senior sector for over 27 years. And during my trips to the homes, the long term care homes, I saw a lot of lonely seniors, and they don't need to be. There's all new ways of interacting, of really finding out, especially I've taken courses on virtual dementia training. You find out where the person is in their dementia journey and you join them there. You join them where they can understand. If they're on the farm, let's say, and they're going to milk a cow, well, what's the weather like over at that farm today, George? You know, you just join them where they're at, and the conversation will evolve very organically.
Yeah, and you bring up such a good point, which is, one of the biggest challenges with seniors, especially, if they were maybe in a partnership and one of them passes away, is that loneliness and that isolation. And we saw through COVID how destructive being isolated for anyone is. And so having a service like yours where they can have somebody who can come because maybe, their kids live far away and they're busy with work and they don't,
Exactly.
have the time they wish they had, and you build a relationship with that person and become a friend as well as a companion.
Exactly. Many of my roles when I was doing senior searches for retirement homes with the company, opening up the market here in the GTA, a lot of the times the family members didn't even live near the seniors. And they were, we were all providing the information graphically with pictures of the retirement home, let's say, and the meeting the sales and marketing person, taking a virtual tour, just making sure that it is the right choice because maybe they're in California and can't afford to get back to Toronto. Yeah, all sorts of things.
And where do you see this business in 2 years?
Well, in 2 years, I may have a crew. Because so many people have come up to me also already and said, "Can I work for you?" And I said, "No, this is just a little side business, but if it evolves and gets, if that's my journey and that's my destination, so be it. It would be my pleasure. It would be an honor. It would be such an honor to share."
And
Hmm.
I'm excited about the journey, and I hope that it's a part of your journey because it's a niche that you can expand outside of the GTA, you call it, right?
Well, if
Training.
anybody would want, they can become partners. Let's say somebody wants to open the exact same thing I'm doing or wants to emulate what I'm doing. We could have a phone call. I mean, I've already done all the hard work with the rack card. Well, it wasn't really hard work. I got rack cards, put up a little web page, and away I go. I mean, you call me a door knocker, I will even go to the hospital and put things on people's cars. So, because people need help. And it's not, when I was in the hospital helping these people for colonoscopy, I would go up to the desk with my rack card. And they're not the ones who can take it. They have to go through this red tape marketing to approve. But what I did was I was walking beside a lady up an elevator. She had a boot on her foot. And I said, "That doesn't look very comfortable." She said, "I'm looking for registration." I said, "Well, actually, I'm going right there now. Let me show you." And so we got up the elevator together, and I said, I just started a business that you may be interested in. If you get in a pickle, you just let me know. I do senior companion services. If you can't get here by wheel trans or whatever, I'm here for you." And you just start handing out things that it evolves.
I think also your background in sales and marketing has um, boosted your business. But my follow-up question to your 2-year plan is you said that if someone needs to or wants to start a business, they can call you. Have you considered creating a training for partners and you train them?
Oh,
And
I used to actually be a healthcare recruiter, and that was part of my job was to coach and train. So I can do that very well. It's it's getting the information and putting it together. But great people like Mitzi, and we can put it together. And yeah, that's a great idea. Love it.
Yeah.
Sharmin is brilliant at sort of finding those golden nuggets with what somebody's doing in conversations and sort of finding the path. That is Sharmin's unique gift.
That's so wonderful,
Thank you.
Sharmin.
Thank you, Mitzi. But I think this is a gold mine, and if you need a partner, I would partner with you because there's so many lonely seniors,
There
right?
are, there are,
Some of
and
them may not be going to the senior center on a daily basis, but they
no,
need activities, they need the companionship. And I see this like having 2 or 3 annual events where all the seniors are invited
Oh,
and
that sounds
they get
interesting.
dressed up, right?
yeah, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then you take
And
you get chaperones and you take them on a bus trip to, I don't know, the casino.
Niagara Falls and the
No,
casino.
there we go.
Yeah, you never know.
This is
And
brilliant.
There is a lot of different areas, and as I said, when I say it's new, I started this in February at the end, but I was laid up with a bad sciatica back for 2.5 months. So while I was laid up, I kept writing notes about what I want my vision was, and then as soon this last few months, I've gotten it off the ground.
that's awesome. And as Sherman said, I think, for anyone living anywhere, if start the hunt to look at, reach out to the seniors' homes, reach out to the senior centers and ask if they know of anyone who does companion services. Because is it just having a conversation for a day, with somebody for a couple of hours can make such a huge difference. I read that there's one, and I don't remember which supermarket chain it is, but they actually opened up a slow lane, which is where the cashier takes the time and talks with the
That
person,
is so good.
has that conversation rather than rushing you through it. And I
Wow.
thought, what a brilliant idea, because a lot of people are lonely and it's maybe their only time they interact with someone.
Yeah.
So you're really leading the way in what is
Mhm.
a huge area.
Mitzi, is that in the States or here in Canada?
I think it
Sounds
was
like
actually like in Norway or something, or Finland or
okay.
Sweden or
Yeah.
something that I came across it.
Because I know UK and Europe is so far ahead of all of us when it comes to healthcare, and there's so much red tape. But if you can keep it simple, it's a win-win for everybody. Sure is. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
people
What
will only call, you'll 99% people call when there's a need. And once you connect with them and, let the senior talk. They just are, they can't, they want to talk. They don't have anyone to talk to except their pet if they have a pet. Yeah. So it takes really good listening skills.
Wow.
uh, well, Andrea, this has been really, really interesting. Is there what's the most interesting or most unusual place that you've taken someone so far?
I think, well, I can talk about a fupa. I was taking a lady for a colonoscopy and she gave me an address. And it was an address of a parking lot. It was supposed to be North York General Hospital. But I kept saying, no, I'm keep getting this parking lot and there's nothing there. Do you think you might have gotten mixed up? And finally I just said, I'm surrendering. Let's go into the hospital. I went into the information and lo and behold, I took her health card. She was supposed to be there. But she had a totally different address. So, you really, if you're not family members and you're not on the emergency, people won't give you information if they have an appointment at the hospital. So it's kind of a tricky situation to keep your cool during times like that. And you know, Toronto traffic when you're just kind of circling.
Yes, Toronto's an hour from Toronto.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I don't do all parts of Toronto, but I'm in North York and do the radius. But
Yeah, for those who, the GTA that she referred to earlier is the Greater Toronto Area. That's what GTA stands for.
Okay.
And our
yeah,
highway, the 401, is the world's busiest highway. Over
I
5
call it a
million.
parking lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't move.
You can have a long visit with somebody just trying to drive from one place to another.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure.
Well, you know what? This is truly what you're doing is transformational because it's helping transform an isolated senior to give them a companion, to give them somebody to help get them to appointments. And really, it's a huge stress relief for their family as well, especially if there's distance, knowing that
Mhm.
there's somebody else there who's checking up on them.
Yeah. You know, it could be just a conversation, it could be a hand holding, it could be moving into a new retirement home and being confused. Today, life is confusing. We're not in the world we grew up in, Mitzi. We're in a confusing world and everyone's in a hurry. So I'm here to help with the slow down of things and to listen and to be of service.
Sharmin, do you have any follow-up questions or pointers that you wanted to?
I just want you to expand and train a few other seniors. And there's this study that found that when you mix seniors with adolescents, their lives are prolonged. So if you can do something to marry the two, like
Mhm.
have interns,
Mhm.
high school interns, they wouldn't cost you anything,
And
um,
volunteer,
to
absolutely.
volunteer.
And they need that. They need that. Some of the people need that on their grades. So it
Yeah,
only adds to their education
yeah.
and
So
program.
you can go to the high schools and get speak to maybe the principal or whomever and create a partnership.
It's
Yeah,
all about, yeah.
Love
it's a
it.
great way to get their volunteer hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they're looking for them even in the summer, especially. I mean, a lot are looking for work for their part-time jobs, but
yeah,
some are still volunteering.
yeah, yeah. And they will
Yeah.
teach the seniors and the seniors will teach them. So there it's such a good balance.
You know, the most beautiful thing when I worked in long term care and visited the long term care homes and the retirement homes, it's just listening. And you know, when you see a new baby and how uplifted you feel, it's that feeling of just being in awe and what a great day it's been. That's how it makes me feel. I don't know if there's a word to describe it, but
I think that's an excellent way to describe it. I think you nailed it.
hmm
Well, thank you so much for taking time to tell us about companion services and to get people kind of thinking about that. And I think you have Sharman's mind going 1,000 miles a minute of planning how this is going to expand worldwide. And she's just the lady who will get it going.
well, we can do a sidebar conversation, Sharman. I look forward to it. Mitzi, thank you so much for this opportunity so I could share what I'm doing.
Our
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Mitzi and Andrea. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you. I love it. You've given me such a high today. You can cut that out. Okay. God bless. And I look forward to our conversation and connecting, Sharman.
Okay. Take care.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Transforming Lives panel podcast. We hope that you received some nuggets of wisdom and seeds to plant along your journey of transformation. If you enjoyed what you heard today, we encourage you to let us know and to share us with those that matter in your life. If you would like to connect with anyone from the panel or our guest speaker, you can find all of the ways to connect in our show notes. We have so much gratitude for you, and we are so thankful to be a part of your day. Until next time, take great care.